Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I am so excited for tonight's special edition, 6 p.m. of the Sonya Dungee podcast, where conversation is always the essence of the soul. I am your host, Sonya Dungee. And yes, of course, still bringing the heat to the IG, Facebook, YouTube, and now TikTok streets. So, tonight we have something very special for you. I asked one of my friends to come and co-host for tonight. So I'm about to bring her aboard on board as well. Um, this is my friend Rosie. She has her own podcast, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about that. She's an exceptional woman of God. She's an amazing friend and encourager, somebody who's there no matter what time of the day or the night. Trust and believe that we be hanging in the middle of the night talking, and early morning and during the afternoon as well. She has inspired me in so many ways. And I just thought that it would just be perfect to have her come on and co host this evening. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring her on. And then next, what we're going to do is we are going to go back and talk about one of the most memorable episodes. So, let me go ahead and bring her on. Rosie. Yes.
Hi,
Hello.
hi, Sonia.
Welcome, Queen. Welcome, welcome to an amazing
Okay.
episode special tonight, episode number 200. I want to thank you so much for agreeing to join us. And I know we had a little special something that we were going to show, but what we'll do is because I didn't prepare for that, we'll drop that in after and no, you know what? We're not going to do that. Tomorrow on our special Christmas edition, we'll pop it in then as a little gift for them. How's that?
Okay, cool. That's fine. Thank you, Sonia. First of all, I want to congratulate you. This is a huge milestone. This 200th episode. God bless you, baby. I know you've impacted me massively. Your heart, your creativity, the woman soldier you are, because you are so God sent. You so obedient to everything that God puts in your heart. So God bless you for being that person, because you're incredible. I still don't know how on earth you do everything you do, but but it's pretty awesome watching it. All right. So thank you. And thank
Thank
you for
you
having
for
me on, girl.
for coming on. Thank you. I know you're very busy. Trust and believe you are busy. When I mean this woman is busy, this queen right here in front of us is very busy. She's always doing something to a point where I'm like, Rosie, did you sleep last night? Rosie, go to bed. You know, like that mind is going and going and going. And she's been very instrumental also in many ways for the Sonya Dungee podcast, helping out behind the scenes. So I want to thank you so much for that. Um, I just want them to know, our viewing audience, a little bit about you. So can you answer this question for me? Who exactly is Rosie Lastra?
Okay. Rosie is a mother, is a divine warrior mom who was given a vision on January 9th of 2015. And God told me that I was going to be his soldier, instrumental in bringing unity, not only in medicine, but also in humankind overall. He also told me at that time that my son Jeremy would be a huge catalyst to the vision he had for me. And I literally spent several days arguing with him, because I was like, back then, I didn't even know nothing about East and Western medicine. But God is incredible. God is amazing. And unfortunately, my son, Jeremy, did pass October 15th of 2024. And I did go through a massive 8 months of grief. But finally I said enough was enough. And since then, it's been like fire. From meeting Darren to meeting you, it's been amazing. God's been amazing to help me find the tools through all of this, and you guys, and you, my love, OMG. You've helped me out so much. And yes, I know you're always asking about sleeping and everything. I love you for that. But
Thank
but yes, I'm all about, I'm taking the hurt, the pain. My goal is to unite, to be instrumental in uniting Eastern and Western medicine. I believe that there's a time and place for everything. And I believe that both Eastern medicine and Western medicine have got their good. And I believe that division hurts and unity blesses and creates miracles. So I'm all about helping people navigate through grief and come out stronger and in their purpose. And I'm also about bringing Eastern and Western medicine together and guiding people through the issue that is going on in this world about introducing holistic things into Western medicine, and how to be able to talk to your doctors to be able to achieve those. Because I've been blessed many a times to be able to successfully do that. So it's my hopes that more people are able to do that. And because of that, I've witnessed many miracles. So that's who Rosie Lastra is. Thank you.
Thank you for the share. And let's finish this plug. So, how can our viewers find you on social media platforms?
Well, I am on Facebook and Instagram and Jeremy's Unity Flight. I'm also on Rosie/Maria Rosalia Lastra on Facebook, at Rosie Lastra on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok, Jeremy's Unity Flight, and Lastra or Jeremy or find me in any of those platforms. Oh, and YouTube Unity Flight.
Perfecto.
So
So just we'll put them in the comments after the podcast so people can find you, because with all the rolling of the tongue and
the
everything,
podcast. Yes, ma'am.
lost you.
I do have my podcast on Friday nights at 7:00. Everybody knows.
Yes. And make
And
sure
it
to watch.
usually goes, it tends to go on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
And make sure to watch, because she's amazing and she's got incredible guests that come on also. So we might have lost her momentarily, but she'll be back. All right. So I want to talk to you first about this specific episode, and that's episode number 200, obviously. And it's called The Celebration, a Reflection, a Thank You. This episode is not just a number, it's a milestone, a moment, and a memory-filled pause to celebrate how far we've come together. So in this special 200th episode, I'm inviting you to come and celebrate with us. And we're going to take a heartfelt look back at the journey, the conversations that stretched us along the way, the moments that healed us, the lessons that helped us grow, and the reminders that we are always allowed to choose ourselves. Okay? So um it's going to be about a reflection over the past 200 episodes, the words that lingered, the stories resonated, and the truths that changed how we show up in our lives. This episode is about honoring the growth, the courage, the pause, and the no's that made room for something better. So I want to thank you for joining tonight. And upon a conversation that I had with a remarkable woman, I don't want to call her name specifically, but she's really been having a really tough time in life. And so we've had many conversations more closely today even. And I promised her that this episode was for her also, but I did say to her that I was going to do a repeat edition And that repeat edition is from episode number 189. I see Rosie's coming back. Okay. Um, and this episode, welcome back, was 189, and it was called A Broken Crayon Still Colors Without Guilt, Without Shame, or Blame. So we're going to touch on that, and then we're going to go back into our celebration. Okay. So this is for you, and you know who you are. So with that, um, I see part of it. Where did it go? Where'd it go? Okay, let's see. Here we go. All right. So take a breath here for a second. I'm sorry. All right. So this episode is about not having guilt, not having shame, not blaming yourself. All right. They're deep rooted feelings, yes, but you can have pockets of joy, and that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk first about shame, and shame occurs in the grieving process, and it does have that negativity to it. All right. And the biggest feeling is that grieving is not being carried out correctly. Like we should appear to be grieving at all times, and should we have a pocket of joy, we're catching ourselves like, oh no, we shouldn't be doing that, and that's far from the truth. You see, grief is a reaction to a loss, such as a loved one's passing on, an empty nester, a job loss, or even divorce, just to name a few. And with grief, there's no manuals, there's no instructions, there's no time limits, no timelines, no how-tos, none of that. It's a very painful process, and it manifests in various
You're gonna have to put
situations.
the light on your truck because I gotta be on this podcast.
And as far as shame goes, shame, it's that belief that you're unworthy, that you're inadequate, and that stings even more than the guilt. You see, in the grieving process, shame can surface due to the way in which one carries the burden. In shame, the grievers can feel like a burden to others. And that was my story. I'm going to mention it to you really briefly. You see, my story started back on January 23rd of 2021. So that was almost 5 years ago next month. My dad unexpectedly went to be with the Lord. As I sat next to him, holding his hand, I watched a tear come down his cheek. And it was in that moment that he took his last breath on this earth and his first breath in heaven. And as a result of that, it put me into a deep, isolated, dark place instantaneously, where I remained for 342 days before I did anything different. Because in my mind, I didn't want to tell my family what I was feeling. I lost a lot of weight. Obviously, they could see that. But at that time, I had 3 beautiful grandchildren. Now I'm blessed with 4. I didn't spend any time with them or any parts of my family, my friends, anything. It was during the height of the pandemic. I was working from home and still, I should say, jobbing, because my work is my purpose. My jobbing is what pays the bills. And I was at home. The only time I left home was when I was running to the cemetery, to Calverton National Cemetery in Calverton, New York, to go to my dad's site, which was behind the walls of the calabarium where his ashes remained. There, I wanted to feel a sense of closeness to my dad, and so that's where I would go. And you see, when enough became enough, I knew there was more life in front of me than there was behind me. And I knew that I had defied death 4 times over. And I knew my life was purposeful, that God had me here for a purpose. It wasn't a mistake. And it was up to me, to what I wanted to do. And I knew my dad would not expect me to behave the way that I was doing. And I'm not saying that if that's what you're doing, that it's wrong. It's not. You see, there's no time frame in grief and anything. And I didn't know I could look at a podcast for some help. I didn't think to go to YouTube and type in grief and see what comes up. I wasn't thinking about the support of community or mentor and a coach. I thought I can do it all on my own, but you see, willpower alone will never outdo community, and I couldn't outdo it my own. I could not do it on my own. And so that I had that burden that I wanted to carry on my own shoulders and not burden others, because I knew my family was grieving just as I was. And see, also in that has the stigma of criticism from others. And that's known as grief shaming. You see, a lot of what I'm mentioning are part of the stages of grief. And in that guilt, that emotion that can be irrational, the feelings of responsibility, of inadequacy, of regret, even when it's unfounded. One isn't grieving enough for extreme guilt or having moments of joy. And that's what I talked about in the moments of joy, was once in a while I would smile because I'd think about something, or I swore I heard my dad say something, and I'd laugh, and then I'd catch myself like, is anybody watching? Oh, I cannot do this. I have to shut this down because it's going to look like I don't care. People are going to think that I didn't love my dad and I should still be in grief. And it's the most common type of guilt. It's a survivor's guilt. It's even that guilt of feeling alive, even when a loved one is not. You see, when we reference shame, like I said, I didn't want to be that burden. I didn't want to have a reason why my family members would grieve more. I didn't want to be a heartache to anyone. And over in my mind, I played out the actions and the day leading to my dad's passing. What if I would have done this? Or what if I could have done that? Or why didn't I notice this? Or it was something always. But as I said, we're all broken crayons. But a broken crayon is still valuable. You see, it still colors. And as I showed you before, if you take this crayon and you break it, it's still a valid crayon. It's still valid. It still writes. You see, it still writes. It writes. It writes. You see, maybe the cosmetics about it is a little bit different. You know, it's not whole like it was. The label is ripped a little bit. It's a little shorter. Maybe not as pointy. Maybe not as popular for the picking, but it still colors. It colors brilliantly and beautifully. And we've all been broken in our lives. You might be in that season, but know that you're okay. Acknowledge your emotions. Acknowledge how you're feeling, whether it be the guilt, whether it be the shame or the blame. Don't judge yourself. And what I didn't mention to you is I'm going to give you five ways to begin your process, to move forward in the healing process, to begin to color once again. So the first one was acknowledge your emotions. And the second is Give yourself permission through self-compassion, forgiveness of self. Treat yourself with that same kindness that you would treat another that you witnessed that was going through the same things as you are. And 3, eliminate that self-talk. Be aware of the negative thoughts that shame preys on. Replace it with positive affirmations like, I'm worthy. I'm more than adequate. Control those controllables. And we spoke a lot about controlling those controllables. What you can't control, let go of. Ligmo. Let it go. Move on. Give it to God. And 4 is the self-care and the self-love. Focus on your physical and your mental well-being. Set aside time to be at rest, relax, eat healthy, exercise, meditate, set boundaries, make your joy a priority. And as I say, do you, boo? Do you, boo? 5, seek support of the mentorships, the community. And as I stated before, willpower alone, that'll never outdo a community. Trust and believe. I tried that for 342 days. And as I said before, and time again, it got me nowhere fast. My suggestion is to write these following steps down in order to begin the healing process for progression so that you can start to color your world once again. So 1, acknowledge your emotions. 2, practice self-compassion and forgiveness of self. 3, eliminate self-talk. 4, self-care, self-love. You know, by weekend, you are seeing me or reading a post reminding us to be self-caring and self-loving. And I give you many ways in order to do it. And 5 is support of mentorship and community, such as myself. If you're struggling, but you're ready to move forward, DM me, I'm ready. And I will send you the link to my calendar called A Heart to Heart with Sonya. And I will give you free 30 minutes or more of my time to help you in your endeavors to move forward. So I wanted to start that way. And I wanted to go over that particular episode because it really was important. And I really did get a lot of comments back and DMs and phone calls, text messages about it. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start talking about some of the memorable episodes of 2025 that got us to episode number 200. But I want to start off with some of my most memorable guests as well. And we talked a lot about resilience and talk that resilient talk. And so 2025 was really about being resilient. But as I stated, to become resilient, you had to take the necessary steps first. You just don't wake up and you're resilient. You have to start out by moving your way to thrive. I called it Thriving in 2025. And on the very first day of 2025, we had Carrie Carbo, and he came and he graced us. And we spoke about resilience as a gentleman who has his own podcast, the Carrie Carbo podcast. And he is challenged through his eyesight, and you would never know it. He never complains. She shows up, and he is just remarkable. So thank you so much, Carrie, for coming on in 2025. And then there was Karen Smith Frazier. She came on the very second episode, and she's amazing as well. And she has her own episode, her own podcast, excuse me, called the Karen Smith Frazier Podcast. And check her out. She comes on Wednesdays at 11:15 on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as well. And I want to jump in and check out some of the comments that I see that Karen, that you've joined here as well. So I want to thank you for that. Um, Going over to our friends on Facebook land. Let's see who's joined us there. Don't want to miss out on anyone. Let's see if we can see. Okay. Have that opened up as well. And then we had Samantha Francis. We had this thing going on the first couple episodes. We had some powerhouses. So Samantha Francis, thank you for joining. And Vicky Shorts came on episode 106. And then someone near and dear to my heart as well, Joyce Dungee Proctor, my cousin. She's amazing, and she has her own podcast as well, and she's all over social media. So be sure to check her out as well. And then was Connie Korbalik and my dear sister, Coach Dawn Allen, who would be on with us tonight, but she's in Bermuda helping her mom who recently had surgery and is recuperating there. Then there was coach and author Dawn Thurland and Dr. Jennifer Dungee and Coach Dawn Thurland. She was also back as an author. She came on as well. And Brittany Mack, of course, is my daughter. She has her own podcast called The Grown. I don't want to mess this up. What is this called? The Grown. Let's see. Let me not mess this up. Let me go and make sure we got this right.
Girl Love Club?
Yes, there you go. Thank you. That's why we got your co-host in. Yes, because I always want to name it something a little different. And I said, let me not. But absolutely. Thank you for that. Yes. Yes, indeed. Let me come back over here really quick. Okay. So I want to thank you, like I said, to my guests of 2025. We look forward to having even more guests on 2026 as well. And then as far as the episodes that really hit home was on episode 140, and it was resilient despite it all. And then there was episode 143. We celebrated Women's Month resiliently. And that was absolutely amazing. I learned so much about what Women's Month was really about. So if you want to look into that, go back to episode 143. And then I asked you 145, are you comfortably uncomfortable? Are you comfortably uncomfortable? You see, and Rosie knows we just spoke about that today. You have to be uncomfortable to become comfortable. Life is not just handed to you. You have to get out there and you have to go for what it is that you want. But it has to start out with being the best version of yourself. So check out episode 145. And then we talked about the struggle bus in episode 151. And the struggle bus was something that I truly had to learn how to let go, because I was that one that could look at someone and know that they needed it. But I wanted it more for them than they seemed to want it for themselves. And I used to say, I'm going to give you a bus pass. I'll be here waiting. I'll be right here at the bus stop. When you're ready to get off, I'll be here. And then the reality of it is I cannot. You see, when you are to a point when enough is enough and your perspective changed like mine did, you see, I wanted it. I knew I needed it, but I had to get to the point where I wanted it more than anything else because I wanted to know my true calling. I wanted to know how to walk fully in my purpose, but I needed to really invest in myself. And once I invested in myself and I got the help that I needed from my mentor coach, which is my family now, Mr. Darren Walker from Be Iconic World, that's when I found community, Be Iconic World community. And that's when my life forever changed. You see, I wanted it. I was intentional. I stayed focused. I showed up. I did not miss a class. I did the work. And I'm not saying that you have to do exactly what I did, but if you want to move forward and if you no longer want to be stuck in grief and life hardships and life challenges, there's no time like tonight to take the first step. It's never too late. You are not disrespecting anyone from moving forward. You see, God left you here on this earth for a reason, for a purpose. You are purposeful. You are a child of God. You are worthy. You're beautiful. You have so much more life ahead of you than you have behind you. Stop allowing the pen of the past to write your future. Take that pen, yank the ink out of it, throw it in the trash can, and then throw the pen away in a different trash can. And you start writing your own chapters. You see, the things that we went through in life is for a reason, it's for a purpose. Like I said, it's part of our story, it's our journey. You can't go back and erase it, but you can get rid of that ink so you don't allow it to keep writing your future. And so when we talk back with the struggle bus again, stop struggling, get off that bus. If you get off that bus and you just don't have the direction like I didn't have, like I said, DM me and I will help you. But I can't do it for you. You have to be willing and able to do it yourself, to take that step. So that was episode 151. And then in 156, we still were talking about stuck, and still stuck. And I felt that that was very important. So go back and check out episode 156. And if you can relate, you know what to do next. Episode 158 was free yourself from stuck incarceration. I'm giving you these episode numbers because if you can relate and you're finding that this is you, go back and watch them. 167 was stuck in turmoil, but the difference was to go from stuck in turmoil to unstuck and in tranquility. And then there was 169, boss up to rise above the anchors. That, for me, was another turning point. And in that, I gave you ways in which to move forward. And it was the resistance to adaptability, restraints, toxic relationships, lack of pillars, abandoned goals, And we talked in length about that as well. So go back and watch those. That'll be a great help to you as well. See, I told you we were going to celebrate, but it's not about the ooh-ha and blowing the horns and all that we did in 100. We're celebrating 200 episodes, yes, but we're talking about how we got here and how important it is. Sometimes you have to go back and reflect. And then in episode 171, building empowering resilience. We started talking about empowering her. And I speak to my boss warrior queens. It's not like I'm disincluding anyone, but I'm talking about experience, and I'm a her. And these are the things that empower her. And in 181, grief versus depression, that was big because people get confused between what is grief and what is depression. And according to Oxford, grief is deep sorrow, especially caused from death. It's a profound emotional and psychological response to loss. Grief can accompany any event that disrupts or challenges our sense of normalcy as we know it to be. And there's 5 stages of that. There's the denial stage, the anger, the bargaining, the depression, which is the mental disorder that causes a persistence in sadness, a lack of interest that affects how one feels, how one thinks, and how one behaves. It could lead to both emotional and physical problems that make the day-to-day routines very difficult to carry out, and potentially even suicidal thoughts. So we talked about that, and then we talked about 5 was the acceptance, coming to terms with loss. Not to say that grief ceases, because grief does not cease. Grief takes time, and there's no self-time, there's no manuals, there's no instructions, there's no guidelines. So that was episode 181. And then came episode 183, keeping up with this perspective. And that's when I shared with you that my grief continued, my stuckness continued until my perspective changed when enough became enough. And I gave you scriptures in Isaiah 41:10, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my right hand. And in that, we talked about staying focused on the changeables. Giving gratitude was number 1. Start your day with a great morning. I woke up this morning, so everything else in life is operational. Speak life with intention. Demote negativity. Enhance wellness. Stay accountable with help from community. That was episode 183. And then in episode 188, we started to color. We started talking about some coloring, one crayon at a time. And we really started to get into it. And in that, I gave you 5 effective steps to utilize in rediscovering purpose. And one was acknowledge emotions, first step in healing. And that was known as the first crayon in healing. And there's there's gray days. There's definitely gray days, but we talked about the first crayon. That was that blue crayon. The blue crayon. Remember the blue crayon? And the blue is the piece after the tears. And we talked about faith. Grief is not a problem to be solved. It's a journey that can be unpredictable with no set framework. Gratitude will boost colorless to colorful. And we had an inward reflection. When we look within, we can focus on self, fully understand our feelings, move forward to change, take small steps towards faith, towards gratitude, towards journaling. That was all in episode 188. So I would recommend that you go back and watch that. And we talked about the various shades, and from the blue, we went to the green. And then from the green, we went to the yellow. And yellow is when the joy starts. That's when we find ourselves with those minutes where those moments where we'll smile and catch ourselves because we think that we shouldn't be joyous. And yes, we should. We should. Allow the yellows back in your life. And then we went to the purple. The yellow was the game changer. Then came the purple. And the red summed it all up for us. So go back and check out those episodes. And then we'll talk about 199. And in that was just last week. It was restarting the color back in your world. And in that, it was to just say no in order to color grow. You see, that's something that I always found difficult to say no. No wasn't in my vocabulary. But you see, when Nancy Reagan said it years ago, my children, the two older ones, they were in elementary school. And myself and another friend, we were the co-presidents of Just Say No. And we said no to drugs, and we taught the children all of that. But we didn't equate just saying no to anything else. And I always thought that if I said no to something I didn't want to really do, that somebody asked me to do, it would hurt somebody's feelings. But at the end of the day, I was hurting my own feelings because I wasn't allowing myself to set the necessary boundaries that I needed. Anybody needed something? Here you are. It could be my last. It's okay. You need a place to stay? Sure. Come on through. You need my car? Here it is. Whatever it is, here it is. But what I've learned, especially through the grieving process, is it's okay to say no. And I'm not Mikey from the Life commercial, Life cereal. See, everybody would give Mikey the cereal, if you remember, because they knew he liked it. Michael, he likes it. I'm not Mikey, and I don't like it. And I am going to stay true to myself and through my boundaries. And I recommend that you do the same. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't compromise yourself, your peace, your happiness for anything else. I know we as parents, we want to do the very best for our children, give our children the world. But you know what? As I found out, doing that is not helpful. It wasn't helpful. And trust me, they'll still try it. And I'm like, no. Now I yell, no. and they could take it for whatever they want to take it as. But when I yell it no, it just feels really great inside. And that just lets me know that I'm still moving forward in my healing journey and that it's okay to say no. So I really wanted to share that with you tonight. I wanted to go over some of the memorable episodes for tonight. And Rosie, I see that you're back, so you can chime in at any time. You're a co-host. It's fine. I promise you, I don't have you on pause or mute.
No,
So,
I
is there
know. I
anything
know.
that add to anything that we've gone through tonight in the various episodes?
I've loved every one of your podcasts, but this whole thing you got going on of every color, every crayon colors, it just hit home. It just hit home. I know I went through all those colors. And I think I recently told you that I feel like I'm in three colors. So sometimes you do bounce back and forth between colors, but it's okay. It's just like the 5 steps of grief you bounce back and forth through because there's never a straight line. But yeah, I value you. I appreciate you. You've helped me in amazing ways, Sonia. So thank you, my love. So and thank you for having
You're
me on.
welcome.
It's a pleasure. I'm
And
humbled.
no, thank you for being here. Two things. I know that you had asked, you were viewing, and you had asked about, can you have more than one color? And the answer was yes. But would you explain why you asked that? Meaning, because I'm assuming, you know what they say about assuming, but I'm assuming the reason was because sometimes you're feeling a little of this and that. So do you want to share about a possibility of feeling more than one color so that our viewers, whether they're watching now or watching on the replay, can have a better understanding and not think that it has to just be one color or another?
Well, some days I do feel gray. For the most part, since I've come out of the massive grief through all the action steps that I had taken and the community and Darren and you, I find myself for the most part in a state of joy. So I'm in the yellow crayon, okay, but I also bounce between the purple and the red. So sometimes I feel like I'm all the way healed. And I think I'm not going to cry no more. And I think I'm going to be okay. But then I'll catch myself one day, a memory will come in. And next thing I know, that day I'm in a gray area. So I'm bouncing between these crayons. And that's why I asked you that.
Gotcha. So that is so true. Um, and it's okay to be mixed. It's okay to bounce back and forth. It's just not okay to stay not okay and think that you're going to be a bother to somebody. So you have to keep it to yourself. And honestly, I had this great conversation with a viewer. I've had a couple of conversations this week, honestly. And this particular person um, has really, like I said, gone through it. And when she has her moments of happiness, she's questioning that. Like it shouldn't be happening. And I said, it really should be. It really and truly should be. It's okay to cry. It's okay to show emotions. God didn't bless us with tear ducts, I think, just so that when we cut onions, you know, water comes down. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I had a whole podcast way back in the beginning, in the early days of my podcast, and I had a gentleman on, and we were talking about that. And they both believe that it's okay to cry. Whether you're a male, whether you're a female, you have emotions and it's okay to show them. You have to feel, you have to acknowledge, you have to accept, you have to be able to go through the different stages of grief. Whether it's grief, whether it's divorce, whether it's an empty nester, there's so many avenues of life challenges and hardships. So it applies to those as well, not just grief alone. I didn't even
Def-
realize until I started doing this podcast and I started doing the research about so many ways that people are going through hardships in life, even a bad breakup relationship, or if it's a breakup or a divorce and they had mutual friends and now the friends is lost because it's like, well, we can't be your friend anymore. And, like, well, how do we celebrate the holidays now? And there's a lot of other people that are affected by it as well. So it's very important to acknowledge when you are going through hardships and you're going through life challenges or grief. It's valid, it's real, but you can't go it alone and you need the help. And I'm a transformation coach. I teach from life experience, not just textbook. I give free masterclass the first Wednesday of every month. Did 12 for this year. The next one is coming up on, I believe it's the 6th. Let me see. No, actually, I think it's the 8th. The first, no, that wouldn't be the 8th. It might be the 6th, but I'll let you know for sure. Whatever the first Wednesday is, it's a free masterclass. It doesn't hurt to sign up. There's no strings that's attached to it. It's just an opportunity to get off social media into a more personalized Zoom with other people, and you're just getting the information that's necessary for you to make moves to move forward. So, with that being said, I also want to say that Rosie popped off. Okay, I'm sure she'll be back. But you see me with my Grinch hat and you see me with my Grinch sweatshirt on, and you're probably asking me why. Yes, the Grinch stole Christmas, but if you know the true story, at the end of the day, he did right. At the end of the day, the Grinch wasn't as Grinchy as people thought he was. It's just that the Grinch himself went through hardship and life challenges and was teased and picked on, ridiculed, and all of that. And he went into depression and he became mean because that was um, just like a defense mechanism. He tried his best to be mean because he was hurt, damaged. But at the end of the story, I watched it more recently because I always heard it and I really never paid attention to it, but I actually sat and watched it. At the end, he did right. The Who's and Whoville started to look at him a little bit different, even though he couldn't handle it, and then he was still a little bad, but then he came through at the very end. So I'm wearing my Grinch, not because I'm a Grinch or because Christmas is Grinchy or any of that, but I just think he's really cute at the end of the day, and it's purposeful, and there's really a story in that. So, my queen, Miss Rosie, I want to thank you so much for joining in the celebration tonight. Um, Showcasing the most memorable episodes in 2025. Looking forward to another 100 before the end of 2026. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a pop-up um, Christmas, as I always do, just a quick podcast type thing, but pop-up style. Don't know exactly what time, just so that you know that you are not alone. And I'll be giving you a couple of steps, 5 to be exact, on just how to survive through the holidays. But see, I want you to do more than just survive. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that it's okay to celebrate, even if you choose to start new celebrations. So, with that being said, thank you for joining once again. Stay safe, stay well. God bless you all. Always be destined for greatness, your very best. Bye for now.
And God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Love you. Bye.
You're welcome.
You're awesome too. Love you. Thanks.
Thank you. You're awesome too.
Thank you.
It's, when we end, just stay in the stay on stage. Okay.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye.